just because the guy looked so intimidating. The moment he stepped through the school gates, the principal mistook him for an intruder and called the cops on the spot. Even when the teacher introduced his name, her voice was trembling, and the students below were scared stiff, terrified of getting on his bad side. To ease the awkward atmosphere, the guy forced out a warm smile and introduced himself as Kitano, but in his classmates' eyes, that smile looked like a demon had descended. Within half a day, news that a thug had transferred to first year had spread across the entire campus. Kuroda, the school's top dog, couldn't stand having someone steal his spotlight. He decided to personally step up and teach this newcomer a lesson. At lunch break, students from other classes either headed to the cafeteria or hung out outside, but Kitano's classroom was dead silent. When eating, they picked up each grain of rice one by one, afraid the slightest move would catch Kitano's attention. Only when Kitano left the classroom did everyone let out a collective sigh of relief, whispering to each other that the vibe in there was suffocating. And Kitano, standing outside the door, happened to hear what they were saying. His heart sank with disappointment. Just then, a heavy hand suddenly landed on Kitano's shoulder. Kuroda showed up with two goons, looking ready for trouble. He rudely asked Kitano if he knew anyone in this class. Kitano turned around without hesitation, and with just one glance, the cocky look on Kuroda's face instantly crumbled. He completely lost his composure. Kuroda quickly backtracked, saying he had the wrong classroom, then dragged his wobbly legs and scrambled away without looking back. In an alley, Kuroda chain-smoked over a dozen cigarettes, but still couldn't calm his racing heart. His boys were confused by his weird behavior, but Kuroda snapped that they were too green to understand. Based on his years of street fighting experience, he was certain Kitano was no ordinary punk. He even suspected the guy might have blood on his hands. He seriously warned his boys to never mess with Kitano, but to save face in front of his crew, he still talked tough. If Kitano ever came looking for trouble, he'd be the first to step up. Meanwhile, to avoid being hated by his classmates, Kitano decided to build a better image, so he started picking up trash around campus. Soon, a broken dead tree caught his attention, but just as he bent down to lift the trunk, Kuroda and his boys happened to spot him from nearby. Kitano's already fierce face, combined with his strained expression, sent Kuroda, who'd just calmed down, right back into panic mode. In his mind, Kitano wasn't moving a tree. He was carrying a weapon to fight them. But actually, Kitano was freaking out inside too. The tree was too heavy. The moment he tried to lift it, he lost his balance and ended up carrying the trunk, charging straight at Kuroda's crew. Though Kuroda was a seasoned fighter, he'd never seen anyone charge at people with a tree trunk. He was scared out of his mind. Get out of the way. After a loud crash, Kitano thought he was in for a beating, but instead heard Kuroda begging for mercy in tears. And just like that, Kitano became famous overnight, somehow becoming the top dog at Hekiku High, and his classmates' fear of him only grew deeper. Even the teachers avoided making eye contact, afraid of accidentally ticking him off. But in class, Kitano was just quietly taking notes. As for Kuroda, he was secretly relieved he'd begged early, otherwise he'd be 6 feet under by now. Just then, a blonde punk showed up. He'd been suspended for beating up a teacher on day 1, and Kuroda was looking for someone to take out his frustration on, so he decided to teach this clueless punk a lesson. Even though Kuroda called in his boys to help, within minutes, they all got beaten to the ground by the blonde guy. The blonde thought he'd now claim the throne, only to find out he was too late. The new top dog was Kitano.